Georgetown Guyana played host to the second AfriCaribbean Trade and Investment Forum initiated by the Africa Export-Import Bank, the Afreximbank. The theme for 2023 is Creating a Shared Prosperous Future. The Master of Ceremony for Day 1 at the Marriott Hotel in Georgetown was Mr. Al Crichton Jr., Director at the Confucius Institute of the University of Guyana. He kicked off proceedings by introducing Guyana's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the Honorable Hugh Hilton Todd, who delivered his welcome remarks.
The continent has many sources of raw materials for input in our production processes, while at the same time, it also offers a market for products from our region. This forum will generate discussions for our countries to share ideas on how to add value to the natural resources of our regions. Just like the African region's rich natural resources, which includes minerals, forestry resources, and fisheries resources, and the conducive climate for agricultural production, our Caribbean community, which is largely composed of small island and low-lying coastal states, has similar resources that could be developed in partnership with countries from the African continent.
Next up, to deliver introductory remarks, was Professor Benedict Orama, President and Chair of the Board of Directors of the Afreximbank, who shared insights on the various ways the bank is supporting boosting trade between the Caribbean and the African continent.
For Guyana here, we've agreed to conclude a $500 million transaction to support accelerated infrastructure development projects of the Guyanese government. For Barbados, in support of tourism revitalization. St. Lucia, for climate adaptation interventions. The Bahamas, for SME support and development. Grenada, for tourism projects, and St. Kitts and Nevis, for renewable energy projects and trade finance. Afreximbank Investment Promotion Drive has also attracted African investment interest in fisheries, renewable energy, ports, industrial parks, financial institutions, and tourism, to name a few. During this event, agreements will be signed covering some of these financings and investments. In particular, Afreximbank subsidiary, the Fund for Export Development in Africa, will enter into a framework agreement with Access Bank Group, Nigeria, to jointly invest in the financial services sector here in Guyana and across the Caribbean. We also expect to sign a document evidencing the arrangements we've reached with the government of Guyana for the $500 million infrastructure investment bridge financing facility. Afreximbank's Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, PAPS, has been selected to run a pilot program for CARICOM central banks as a payment infrastructure for the CARICOM. We hope that very soon, the payment systems of Africa and the CARICOM will be integrated so that a Guyanese can buy an African product and pay seamlessly in Guyanese dollars, while the African seller receives his or her own national currency. And on the 4th of August 2023, 11 months since we started this journey, Afreximbank opened a Caribbean office in Barbados, and it has begun operations.
The keynote address was delivered by Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, President of Guyana and the nation's second youngest president in its history, elected in 2020 at just 40 years old.
So as a region here in CARICOM, leaders are now grappling with this challenge of ensuring we are not again left 40, 50 years behind because of innovation and digitization. And that is where I think the Afreximbank and CARICOM must align our thoughts. How we can build a regional project, how we can transfer the technology within the confines of our own control to accelerate innovation, digitization, and the technology that is required in a world 2030 and beyond. Let me pause and welcome our dear Prime Minister, Mia Mottley.
The series of high-level remarks continued with the Honorable Mia Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados, who praised the Afreximbank President Orama for his efforts in boosting trade between the Caribbean and the African continent.
I want to thank you, Professor Orama, because you and your team have not just talked the talk, but you have walked it every step of the way. And the progress that we have made in such a short space of time is nothing short than phenomenal. This bank has placed before the region, without even having all of the countries of the Caribbean community on board, the ability to have a line of credit of $1.5 billion, even though two of the largest countries in the region have not yet joined, and we hope to see them soon. But the bottom line is that tell me how many other countries, institutions, Secretary General, have seen us or heard us and are prepared to work with us in the last few years. I believe that President Ali's point at the end of his speech about the fraternity that binds us together, the solidarity with which we treat to one another, is one of the reasons why we have seen this level of progress, and one of the reasons why we are seeing it in areas that matter to us. And not that other assistance or partnerships don't matter, but at a time of great international turbulence, the capacity to be able to have access to capital as oxygen is absolutely critical.
Continent, lot of expertise here, but we really need to...
Panel discussion was up next, moderated by CNN's Zain Asher. The day also featured the all-important signing of deals. The Honorable Philip J. Pierre, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, and Professor Benedict Orama, President and Chair of the Board of Directors of the Afreximbank, signed a $6 million climate-linked term loan. A memorandum of understanding was also signed between the Afreximbank, Access PLC Holdings, and FIDA, the Fund for Export Development in Africa.
I think we have more than good news. I think we have great news today, specifically Access Bank and the Fund for Export Development in Africa, or for Africa, working with Afrexim today. I think in another hour or so, we'll be announcing what is $220 million in capital mobilization, which is anchored by Access Bank to invest in the Caribbean, or broadly, the CARICOM financial services sector. We expect that this will mobilize, just given the multiply effect of banking capital, will mobilize more than $2 billion in lending opportunities, be it infrastructure finance, be it production finance, be it export finance across the Caribbean. As Access, we're extremely excited for today to be the beginning of a journey that we know will yield a lot of good fruits, will yield a lot of good growth, will yield a lot of trade and further investments between Africa and the Caribbean. So great news today, and very much looking forward to the journey ahead, spearheaded by Access Bank.
We're trying to support African businesses who are looking, especially in the financial services sector, who are looking to expand their footprints and internationalize into regions outside of Africa. Access Bank, working with our Fund for Export Development Bank, which is FEDA, which is our Impact Investment Fund, are working together to see how we can make that happen. As international banks retreat from the same characteristics as Africa, retreat from this region as well, ambition as Afreximbank is to say that those banks do not lose capital, and that capital remains in the hands of Africans. And that's why we're doing this, and that's why we signed the MOU with FEDA, which is our Impact Fund, Equity Investment Fund, as well as Access Bank.
Arise News also caught up with the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
Well, I mean, you can see that even the first day, I missed the first one, the very first one last year. So what brings me here, like I did mention, right, is a straight travel down here, right? It's a 7-hour, air trip, and that's even taken from Lagos. If you take it from Dakar, in Senegal, you take it from Banjul in Guinea, it'll be by 3 hours. right? So what that means is that, you know, the Caribbeans, you know, the South America, this part is the closest to West Africa. So if indeed we even have trade, right, it's going to take you far less a time to be able to send goods down here or to be able to pick goods here than compared to going to North America or to go to Europe. So all of that in itself presents an opportunity that we all need to sit back and reflect on. Right, the population might not be here, right, but the opportunity are enormous, you know, in all of the boxes, if it's in oil and gas, if it's in tourism, if it is in manufacturing, which part of the things that they are also trying to do. And so I'm here because I run the largest economy in our country, right, and if you begin to smell opportunities like this in the Caribbean island, you need to come and look at it and very, very soon. And I'm happy with the heads of government, you know, the commitments they've given, you know, all of the trade support they want to give to their local businesses, to African businesses, and to the partnership that we can grow and develop. You know, I mean, Afrexim is showing the lead in this area, and the least we could do is to encourage them, is to help them open those frontiers, and to help them see the benefits that we all can both enjoy, you know, with the two continents and with the two, you know, cultural values that will be ensured by collaborations like this.
Dignitaries, deals, and dedication to creating a shared, prosperous future. A memorable day one in the history books of the 2023 AfriCaribbean Trade and Investment Forum, initiated by the Afreximbank and hosted by the government of Guyana. From Georgetown, Rhoda Sodiri, Arise News.